I get to introduce some really remarkable people. Two friends that came up they went to college together, university, and then Janice came here and found this philosophy, the power of using the God within, and talked to Linda about that. Linda found that philosophy, the power of using the God within, and they went to this conference, Greg Braden conference. Janice came back talking to me, and she was like over the moon about all the new things that are happening in the world. And so I said, wow, you want to tell us about it? Sure, Linda and I would love to tell you. So I know Janice has some family here. Linda has some family here. You know what? We're all your family, you guys. I'm so excited I could just cry. So I'm not going to waste any more of our time. I really want to see Janice and Linda inspire us and enlighten us. So please welcome Janice Langdon-Kloosterman and Linda Lee Connolly, licensed practitioners. Woohoo! Woohoo! Did you get turned on?
Oh, no.
Allow me to turn you on.
Thank you.
Oh, I think, hang on.
I might have done something wrong.
This is a commercial break. Okay, have a check.
Am I on?
Yeah. Sorry, John. One problem.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. So nice to see everybody here, all these beautiful faces. And I'm so honored to be here, to be asked to speak, to be part of this up here. And I hear Reverend Joanne and all the reverends talking before. It's like, oh. So I feel like I'm so blessed. I'm so honored to be approached, to be able to share some of the experiences that I've learned in January, some of the experience that I've learned from the years of learning the science of mind. I'm wanting to start with the morning treatment. I invite you to close your eyes. Feel the energy from Mother Earth going through you, being around you. We have this earth energy keeping us grounded, keeping us balanced. Breathe and feel the bright light filling the space, moving throughout your body and clearing all of your energy. Our energy is elevated today. Vibrating frequencies are done through thoughts, and they're made through our thoughts, our love, peace, joy, and gratitude. Embrace that perfection, that innate self that you were born with. We are here in a balance of our body to openly experience more of who we truly are. A place of our wholeness. I know that this is true, and with that, I say, and so it is. I have to get Kleenex. I'm a little bit... Oh. Oh. It's so nice to see my family here, see Linda's family here. I see friends here. It's with the niceness, it brings lots of feelings. In January, we were able to go to the center to the conference on the first conference that they've held on bringing science and spirituality together. And with that, it's proving what we already knew. And it just opens the world to more of, oh, well, we know this, but now there's more people that are knowing this, more people that are experiencing this. So when I first come to this belief and this understanding, I was walking through these very doors. This Center for Spiritual Living. I had not heard of it. I had not known anything about it I walked into these doors and went, who are these people? They're so welcoming. They're so authentic. They're so part of who I am. And those doors, I wanted to keep coming back. And I've kept coming back here for 14 years. So I thank the Center for Spiritual Living. This is the ground of who I am, and where I move into, I learn more things. But here is always my rock. This is always my home. And I can go to other centers for spiritual living, and it's the same. There's still that same message. There's still that welcoming. And of course, Red Deer's my real home, because this is where I see everyone. January, and Linda phoned me and said, let's go to San Diego. There's Greg Braden is going to be there. There's Bruce Lipton. And I thought, yeah, let's go see them. Let's see what San Diego is like in January and who they are. They're amazing, absolutely amazing. They're things that they're able to talk about that they actually proved in the 60s and the 70s, but they couldn't put any of it out there because science wouldn't allow it. Now it's allowing some of it because they're going, Bruce Lipton, he was a university professor, and he left university as a professor because they wouldn't let him teach what he already knew. They had to teach whatever they were saying at the time. So I think right now we're in such a special time in our lives. We're in the time where science is coming together with us. So embrace that. I'm embracing that it's so welcoming to know that the rest of the world is seeing some of what we already knew. So we get the rest of the world to join us in what we already know. So how exciting, I think, to be able to do that, to be part of that. So one of the first things we know is you are not what you were told you were from the time of birth. And it's not because anybody told you anything wrong. You are more than what you could have ever imagined. We are infinite of the possibilities, what you could be. And right now, we're in a time of chaos. And I think we can all say that very clearly. There's things going on. There's things going on in the world, everywhere. And it's a chaotic time. So in this time, we're challenged. We're challenged in ways that we've never been challenged before. We've gone through a pandemic. How do we go through it? We can't pretend it didn't happen. It's happened. We're moving through it. And there's science, and there's lots of science around it that's more of a talk that I can't talk about today because I don't have time. So it's intense. This intensity of this time is crazy. It won't last. I think that's the great thing is you can't keep that kind of intensity forever. It has to. We're just going to move through it. We are moving through it. I feel like we've moved through the biggest part, but we have changed things that we're going to do. So how am I going to move through this? Am I going to move through it through anger, blaming someone else, blaming the government, blaming myself? Or am I going to move through it with spirit, with God, using the highest vibration that is always here, that's always within me? That vibration, it's there. It's moving when I don't know it's moving. It's moving and it's there. And science tells us there's sounds, and the sounds change our vibration. And since I've started with spirituality, I've always, before I even started, since growing up really, sound. Sound is something that moved me. Moved me from the core of what is it? And I didn't know any science around it. I still don't know a lot of science around it. But there is that sound is a vibrational thing that changes our patterns. If our patterns change, our DNA changes. Science shows what we were born with that DNA. It's not that it doesn't have to stay. We don't need that same DNA. We've been given this message. We can change it. So that's very exciting. Time to embrace that, what we were born with. We get to move through it, and lots of things we're born with we love. And then there's things we just want to change, all of us. So it's exciting to know that science tells us there's evidence that people do change their DNA, and they have. And when we know it, we can embrace it more, and we can be part of that. So on the noise, on sound, the science behind it is something that's complex, I guess. So I just knew that there was a calmness. I could feel something within me that's calming down. I can call it God. I can call it Buddha. I can call it Jesus. I can call it Allah. I can call it Spirit. But it moves within me. And that is, you call it God, moving within me, changing me, embracing me. Me knowing that I am good, just perfect, just the way I am. And right now, if I just want to do an experiment, us all experience the Om. Everyone has done this. And when you do the Om, we move the cells in our body. And we move the cells in our body, we're more open. We're more open to suggestion. We're more open to learning and experiencing. So we'll do it 3 times, if that's okay here. Okay. Thank you. Do you feel it? Do you feel the vibration, the change, the moving? So there was a time when I took a workshop with Kellyanne Conway, and she changed some of my experiences in life and what she did. I think you were at it, Juliet, a weekend workshop. You might not have been, I don't know. But she talked about the vowels. A, E, I, O, U. And they're so simple. So some of changing our chemistry, our things, is just going Om and use all the different vowels. Each vowel will do a different part. No. There it is now. Okay, we'll use this then. That's the way life goes. Oh. That's okay. I'm just going to put this this over my head so that it doesn't go down.
You need batteries, Rex?
That's okay. Thank you. So that's all part of our life. That was my commercial break on there. Do you hear me still now? Oh boy. Okay. That's exactly it, Juliet. I'm pretty good with just going with the flow. So I think that's part of our learning thing is we have hiccups along the way. Just go with it. Don't worry. We will survive, and we can just become more of who we are with these little hiccups, because it's not the end of the world. So I was talking about the vowels. So each vowel has a different part of your body that it's going to connect with. And if you do your whole body, you take that few minutes to do the vowels, do your whole body, you will clear your body. People who do different studies may call it the chakras. It's okay, whatever you call it, it is your whole body that you are moving. And that is the facts. And it's the scientific part as well, you'll see it. If you're really wanting to experience and you're in a place that you can't, where maybe you just can't say it loud, you can't do the om loud, plug your ears. If you plug your ears while you say it and do it quietly, your whole body vibrates more and you'll feel it, you'll experience it. So there's lots of simple little techniques that I learned, some of it before, some of it on that weekend. It changes us, and we're just able to do more. And sometimes just doing this just for a moment allows us to be more with the one, more with God. So in this time of chaos, we have two choices, is what I think. We move through it with fear. And sometimes I might. Sometimes I'm sure I do. But I don't want to move through it with fear. I want to move through this with love, with knowing, with being one with God. That's how I want to move through it. And I know when I'm in my knowing, that's where I'm at. But I'm not always in my knowing. The thing that we learned when we were in San Diego, 90% of the time, we're not in our knowing. We're doing life. And when we're doing life, we're in our own conscious space in life. So here's the time to change that recording that was made by someone else. It's all been made before the age of 7. Somebody else made the recording. It's not all a bad recording. There's lots of really good things. But we can change our recording now. We can know what we want our recording to be. We can do it how we want. One way that I learned just recently there is how to fast forward that. And it's going into sound again. It's, can I put on some music where I go more into the unconscious, where I meditate? And when I'm sleeping, and if you hear somebody go, oh, if I meditate, I always go to sleep, you should embrace that. Because when you go to sleep, that is when you're most vulnerable, and that is when you're going to get most of your messages, and that is when your hard drive is actually going to change. The hard drive in our brain, it all of a sudden becomes the messages you want. So be very, very intentional when you're going to sleep. Because if I'm if I can't sleep, turning on music to go to sleep, that's perfect. Turn on a story. I have to watch a story I turn on, because I'm going to fall asleep and I'm going to be in my most vulnerable spot. And what am I going to learn? What am I going to be putting into my brain? Because I'm making a recording that I want that hard drive. That hard drive is going to be mine. I get to own it. So here's your time. You get to own what you want. And that's how you can fast forward it. And not do it more quickly. I felt like they put us on fast drive. Hey, Linda? It's good, because I was shocked when I heard, 90% of the time we're on just automatic. And I thought, I've done so much. No, that's not true. I've done it. I'm so aware. No, I'm living life, and that's what I want to do. I want to work. I want to spend time with my family. I want to be in a place like here. I want to do life. So I need to have that message that I want, because I'm going to be staying 90% in there, because I'm not going to go sit up in a hill and just meditate and be present. I'm going to live life. So, and I think all of us want to live life. So and we're going to stay 90% in that automatic. Where are we? But that's where we can bring that automatic, and we can put the message in that we want in. And that's where the science, they're agreeing with that. That's how the hard drive, we're in the most vulnerable spot. And as Reverend Joanne talks, is it on? Sorry. Yeah, it's on, I think. Wasn't on? I'm sorry. So I'm thinking about last month when Reverend Joanne was talking about being vulnerable. And that is where we're going to be changing our messages. Be vulnerable. Be in a place where I'm okay to be vulnerable. I'm okay for somebody to see my things, to share things about me, to know things about me, to just be able to change things about myself, because that's where I can do it, is being vulnerable. So when you spoke about that, Reverend Joanne, last month, and then I knew I was going to be talking and went, oh my gosh, yeah, this is like as vulnerable as I can get, pretty much right now. So I'm out of my little box. Thank you. So for me, being vulnerable means being intentional. Intentionally going into a place that's out of my box. I can always stay in my comfort zone and not expand myself. But I'm choosing to move out of my little box, and I'm being more vulnerable. It's me, it's helping me, it's supporting me in becoming more and more of who I am. And I'm thinking about Linda told me, we're talking yesterday, and she said to me, you know, I'd been thinking about speaking more. She said, but I never said it. And all of a sudden you said, well, can you speak here? And I said, well, you must have said it. In your unconscious mind, you must have said it, or you wouldn't be here. Has to be. Like, it doesn't just happen. It has to be someplace. We don't have to speak it out loud, because Source, Spirit, God knows what we're thinking. We think it, it becomes. So in vulnerability, it's the meditation, it's listening to the music, it's changing our unconsciousness, changing it, because that's where we want to operate. So one of the recordings that I like to listen to, it's called The Divine Name Sounds of God Code. It's done by Greg Braden and Jonathan Goldman. It's just the frequency is what it is. When I listen to the bowls, that's the frequency, and it just opens me up more. So find that music, find those tones, and you'll feel it, and you'll just, where is it? What opens you more? What helps you experience more? So that's the scientific studies that are showing the DNA that's changing, and knowing that what my genetics are, we don't have to keep them there. There's things that could be disease, there's things that could be depression, there's things that, because genetically it's there, that's okay if it's genetically there, because I can change those genes and I can still be part of my same family. So it's staying within our family. It's just it's changing our genes and welcoming that and knowing that we are. So to me, this is all just so exciting. I'm blessed to be able to share this with you. In here I say your potential is infinite. And I want to repeat that because I think that's important. The potential within you is infinite. And with that, I'm going to move this now to my beautiful friend, Linda Connolly, who we already know that I've known forever, and we've grown lots together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is this still on? Yes. You're just gathering yourself together, right? So thank you. I have to tell you, I feel so honored to be, I can't look at you. Makes me cry. Emotional. But, yes. But just to be sharing this sacred time in this sacred space, because this is such a sacred space. Thank you. that we share. And as Janice was saying, we were at this conference last January in San Diego. And I mean, we learned so much. They had so many different speakers there that gave us this and showed the science. And that's what I love, because I love to understand the whole piece of it. How, I can feel it, I can sense it. But when it can be proven scientifically, to me, it just takes it to a different level, right? And so they had these different scientists there, physicists, biologists, that could prove so much. But there was one thing that just really stuck with me, and that it actually took me on a 5, almost 6 months journey now of just exploring and discovering more of what it is. And what I heard for the very first time was that in 1991, and published in scientific journals in 1994, which means they were peer-reviewed, that in 1991 they discovered, and I shouldn't say discovered, but they recognized, because they've always been there, these 40,000 specialized brain-like cells called sensory neurites. But they weren't in our brain. They're in our heart. And I'd never heard that before. So it means that it has its own neural network, separate from our brain. So we have 2 independent neural networks. And it means that our heart neural network has its own memories, its own feelings, its own emotions. So everything we experience in life is registered in 2 places, in our brain and in our heart. Which, when you think about therapy and whatnot, I mean, that has such huge implications. Because a lot of what we do for therapy is cognitive. Well, we kind of, might be missing a piece there, right? So it was just, wow. So registered in 2 places. Now just think, we have one of the most advanced biological systems called our human form that is most advanced than any other living form, right? And we are one of the only life forms that we know of now that can self-regulate. And so we self-regulate about, whether it is the stress chemistry or whether we're feeling safe and it's the restorative, rejuvenating chemistry, what hormones, exactly what it is that this advanced biological system called our body needs. And so we can self-regulate that. And we do that through our thoughts. And this sounds very familiar to many different spiritual practices and traditions, right? But it's through our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our breath, and our focus. Now, it sounds familiar to science of mind, but it also happens to be many of the principles that are preserved in many of our treasured ancient spiritual traditions, in which we know that Ernest Holmes got a lot of his stuff from, because he researched it all. And so in Northern California, there's the Heart Math Institute. And they started researching this, and I know some people probably have heard of the Heart Math Institute. And using very rigid scientific methods, we're able to develop this 3-step process that can bring us into what we call heart-brain cohesion. Because our heart is the main organ. We have 2 main organs, right? We have our heart and we have our brain. And scientists have been able to prove there is more communication from our heart to our brain than from our brain to our heart. And we know the things that our heart's in control of in our body, many things, right? You know, we can be what they call mindless, brain dead, pardon the expression, and we can still live. But if our heart stops, it's stopped, right? There goes life. And so when we can get that heart-brain cohesion, that's where the healing and our presence begins. And so this three-step process we're going to go through today. I'm going to talk you through it, and I'm going to do it with you because I just love it, obviously. So it's this three-step process of where we, now my mind went blank, where we focus, right, and where we breathe, and where we send this very powerful signal from our feeling heart to our thinking brain. So we'll do this together. So the first thing is that then I'm going to invite you, if you're comfortable, close your eyes and drop your awareness down into your heart. And now scientists have tells us that one of the easiest ways to focus is that we focus wherever we are touched. So do in whatever way you're comfortable with. You can either use an open palm, prayer hands, fingers, whatever it is, but touch your heart. Now bring your awareness from your inner world, from your outer world, into your inner world. And breathe in and out through your heart. And then the next step is we're going to slow our breathing. And for many of us, that's different, right? But the biggest thing is that our exhale be longer than our inhale, because that is what sends the signal to our brain and our body that we are safe. And so for today, for simplicity, we will breathe in for 5 seconds, and we'll breathe out for 8 seconds. So breathe in and out for 8. In for 5. Out for 8. And again. Now I invite you to keep on breathing in whatever way is comfortable for you, and remembering to breathe in and out from your heart, and for the exhale to be longer than your inhale. And now for the third step. We're going to send this very powerful signal from our feeling heart to our thinking brain of 0.1 hertz. And I don't have enough time today to get into the importance of that. But scientists have discovered and been able to measure that the best way to do that is when we have the heartfelt feelings of appreciation, gratitude, care, compassion, love. And so for today, for simplicity, we'll focus on gratitude. So think about whatever it is that you are grateful for. For right now, I am so grateful to be here, to have family here, to have everyone here. So whatever you are grateful for, think of that. remembering to breathe in and out through your heart, and to have your exhale longer than your inhale. And now think of love. What is it that you love? What brings you joy? And now on the next exhale, send that love and gratitude to whoever is next to you. And on our next exhale, send it to everyone in this room. And our next exhale, send it to everyone in the community. And our next exhale, send it to our country, to the entire world. Send love and gratitude. And on your next exhale, when you are comfortable, slowly open your eyes. Now we know, and scientists have been able to prove, and we know this internally, we sense that everybody sends out a frequency, a vibration, right? And you know this when you walk into a room and you can sense, uh-oh, something's off in here, or when somebody's happy, or you can sense that. And scientists have been able to prove that the energy from our body, from our heart, can be measured 8 feet. And it could be more, but the instruments could only go out 8 feet. Now just think of the ripple effect of what we just did. That anyone that comes within your contact, you're getting to send them that vibration of love and gratitude. Now we are living in a very stressful world right now, where everything is changing, right? So much is changing, and we don't know where these changes are leading to. It's like we're in the middle of some event. But to have some way to reconcile this, and these 3 simple steps actually is been proven scientifically to release stress and anxiety. And there's so many other health benefits to that. But to me, it's just that ripple effect of anyone who comes within 8 feet or more. They get to feel that vibration of love and gratitude, which to me is powerful because that's how we be part of the change that we want to see in the world, right? And so I am planning on developing a workshop that I'm hoping to be able to bring back in September and dive really into more of it, the science of it, the different techniques of it. So I want to thank you for this great opportunity of being able to share Thank you that you were here. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.